Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of my channel. My name is Yangji and thanks for being here with me today. Today I am going to address one of the most common questions, which would be my top 3 pros and cons when it comes to driving for Uber. And before we begin today, if you guys have not yet already, please subscribe to my channel and so you guys don't miss out on my regular content on how to become a better rideshare driver and maximize your earnings with little time spent on the road. And if you guys are planning to drive for Uber, you guys can use my referral link below and you guys will get a bonus or a guarantee, so don't miss out on that. Now let's begin. So, I have came up with my top 3 pros and cons when it comes to driving for Uber. I know there's been a lot of complaints, there's been a lot of praise, well, mostly complaints, when I ask Uber drivers what their pet peeves are, what their dislikes are, and they've been telling me, but I've really consolidated my own thoughts based on my experience of driving for Uber for almost 2 years, most of that full-time and then some part-time, and then so I really came up with what I really thought were the pros and cons. So number 1 pro is my favorite, which would be flexibility. So, if you guys don't know already, I have quit my corporate job about 3 years ago, and when I first quit, it was really Uber that was really driving the most of my consistent income, because when I was trying to start my own business, it was not really consistent income, so I really need to go out there flexibly and make some consistent income to actually pay for my expenses, and Uber really helped me do that. And I've done that for full time for almost 2 years while starting my own business, and it was a great gig to have because it was just very flexible. I literally woke up 1 o'clock in the afternoon, because I would be very tired of, from working on my other things late at night, so I can just get up whenever, and I can really just start driving in the afternoon, which would be my favorite time to drive. But there are other time slots you can drive too. If you're a morning person, you can go ahead and do that. If you're a night person, you can go ahead and do that. So literally just anytime, anywhere. So that really makes up my number 1 pro for driving for Uber. My second pro would be you can make a full-time income. Well, this really is subjective because it depends on how much you're trying to make for your full-time income. Now, when I was driving, my goal was to make $100 a day, and $100 a day, less gas. So, I would go out there and try to get $100 in fares, at least, and make about $3,000 every month. So that was my full-time income from Uber. I know some of you guys are trying to make more, some of you guys are trying to make less. That's all possible to an extent. So you only have how many hours in a day that you can actually drive. I used to do this about 6 to 8 hours a day, depending on how good the day is. There are days I end a lot earlier. There are days I have to keep working over that 8 hours hump. So it really depends on how you schedule your day, how your day is, and how busy that day is. Some luck plays into it too, like surge and getting long rides. But you can really get a feel for it after you start driving for a couple months, and knowing where and when you need to be somewhere and pick up those rides, those quality rides, and that's really going to help. So you can make a full-time income depending on how much you want to make, up to a certain extent. So, like I said, I used to make about $3,000, and depending on what your goal is, it might be doable, because, you still have to put in your time, and there's only a certain amount of time in a day, so just remember that. Number 3 would be, working smart can make a difference. So, this is great because to my point on number 3 is that when you drive for Uber, it's not really about how much time you work, but really how smart you work it. So if you're at the right place at the right time, for example, if you're starting at a very busy time almost every day, for me, that was true because I usually work in the afternoon shift. And during the afternoon shift, what happens is people are getting off work, there's a lot of traffic outside, and there's going to be a surge. So I usually take my rides, usually a surge ride, from where I used to live, which is about 30 miles away from the airport in Pasadena. And I would set a destination to the airport. More often than not, I usually get an airport ride with a surge price. So about 1.5 on average, going from Pasadena to the airport, which would be about 30 miles. If you take a 1.5 times that, you usually earn about $40, $50. So, working a good time almost every day, it's really going to help, because otherwise you're picking up the base rates without surge and you're going very short distance, and that's going to leave you a lot of time waiting on the road, wasting your time. So do not do that. Okay, so those are my 3 pros, which really makes up why I drove for Uber for all that time. Now let's go through some of the cons. Now the first and most clear con to almost everybody would be depreciation on your car. I have driven my car. I have put up about more than 100,000 miles on my car since I have driven for Uber. I also did it full time, so that is really going to make a difference and take a toll on your car. So when you do that, you really have to plan for your car to just not be worth as much anymore after driving for Uber. It depends on how much you drive too, and your car is really not going to be worth that much. I have almost no more market value on my car. It's an Infiniti G35, and I put quite a bit of miles on that car. So you really have to take into consideration of that. Even if you're making good money on Uber, just take into consideration that you are losing value on your car. Number 2, it could be bad for your health. Now, I came up with this point because it could be very true. Imagine a day where you're out in the road 5-6 hours and you're just sitting in your car, and in between drives you still have to get stuff to eat. Now, if you're really just trying to get those good rides and you're trying to get your job done every day because you're trying to meet a certain amount of fares for your quota, which was $100 a day, like I said. So I was really just trying to get my stuff done every day so I can go back home and work on my other business. So what I used to do was, you spend quite a bit of time in your car, and what that does to your body is, your back is going to hurt. Or at least get sore by the end of the day, which I was super tired at the end of the day almost every day, because you're going to be stuck in traffic. You're out there for 5-6 hours in a day. The food that you're probably going to get while you're out there is probably going to be fast food, because you're really just trying to get your job done so you can go home by the end of the day or go home early. So you really got to look out for that. I think a few ways you can actually try to just, improve your situation for point number 2 for your health is, get out often while you're waiting for your next ride. Go out and stretch. Even if you're picking up fast food, try to pick up something healthier. So, I don't know, instead of going to McDonald's, you can go to Chipotle, get that brown rice. however you want to make it work. So do take that into consideration as one of the cons. Number 3 would be, it is not for the long run. So I know there's a lot of talks about self-driving cars and how they're going to take over. That is not really how I considered my thought for making this point. I know that's probably true too, so it's not a long-term career choice as an Uber driver because robots are taking over. But that is not really how I came up with this. I came up with number 3 is because, I quit my job so I can actually go, my corporate job, so I can actually come and work on a business that would give me passive income. So, as you guys don't know, if you guys don't know, I actually started working on an e-commerce business, which is more passive. And so, if you guys want to learn about what I'm doing on my e-commerce business or what I'm doing in my other business, be sure to follow my channel. I'll be making some videos about that. But I really quit my corporate job, my full-time job, to work on something that would yield me passive income. And Uber does not really do that for me unless, I'm just here getting people to sign up through my referral link. But driving for Uber does not really do that for me because I'm constantly on the road. And if I'm not driving, I'm not getting paid. And that is not really why I left my corporate job in the first place. Because, I don't want to constantly work so that I can get paid. I want to work on something, I'm going to leave it alone, and it still pays me while I'm not working. So, think about this. And also, I'm not sure if you want to be just driving your car for the rest of your life as a driver. So, no hate against people who do, but it's just not my goal for why I started driving Uber in the first place. Driving for Uber is a great means to an end because it provides you with good flexibility so you can go and work on other stuff while still generating pretty good income on a flexible basis. So do consider all my points here. This is what I feel about driving after having driven for, almost 2 years. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe so you guys won't be missing out on content just like this. And if you guys do plan to drive for Uber, you guys can use my video description link and you guys will get a bonus or guarantee. See you guys next time.